So, we're gonna talk about Deimos first, and coming in at the 13th position, right there, we have the Drunken Quaggans. I say we start watching the POV and you guys explain some stuff happening in the background at the same time. Do you approve?
Absolutely. I know Deaction's excited. It's a double warrior comp.
Another double warrior?
The double warrior comp again, and then let's get going. However,
I'm a believer in double warrior.
This
I
guy
think that
dreams
the
about
only-
double warrior.
I suggested it about 15 times in our game. No, that's not true. It's not bad though, obviously.
yeah, let's
There was a period
let's
of
speed it
time
up a little
where
bit though.
Yeah, there was a period of time where double warrior was clearly a really good option. It's got in the current one, I don't think it's quite as good as it used to be, but it's still not like bad.
It depends
So.
on your phase times, but I think it's not too bad. Deimos is not maybe a fight where it's going to excel, but I mean, warrior, I mean, it still does good damage. Sure, it's competitive. This is also interesting in the comp. Everyone thought it was dead. It's not. They have 3 soul beasts. It kind of actually works out on this fight because they nerfed the one wolf pack cooldown, but it lines up with that 200% unnatural signet we were talking about earlier, so you can still get those fat bursts off into the DPS buff.
they
Sam,
only
they're saying to turn up Deaction in chat, by the way.
I'm always
They only
quiet,
have-
dude.
Yeah, they only have 2 DPS soul beasts though. One of them is actually hand kite.
One's a hand kite, yeah.
Yep.
They're
So,
even
but
running
still-
2 healers.
Wolfpack.
A heal firebrand tank maybe in quickness.
Yep, that seems to be the case. Yeah. It's
I mean, the
interesting to see
double-
what people.
The double soul beast is still obviously very nice. You have the one wolf pack is probably debatably one of the strongest group utility skills that you can bring on a DPS class.
It probably
especially
is, to be honest.
especially in a fight that has a mechanic like the signet, where you're getting a ton of extra hits and a ton of
You
extra
have
damage
such
into
a
that short
huge,
span.
yeah, like it's a DPS window that you can't afford to miss. But yeah, as someone pointed out in the chat, it is in the healer sub. Like, couldn't they have actually optimized this a little bit better? Or no, they actually have double soul
healers.
beast.
Yeah, you could have. The problem with that is it looks like in that top sub, you've got AP, you need your quickness, you need that firebrand. The hollow, you're going to want to give AP and one wolf pack too, because they're going to be able to really thrive with that. You could have maybe dropped the warrior down and
dare
put
you.
the soul beast up, but problem is then you've got 2 warriors without spot. Oh no, you've got the druid for spotter. You could have, but I mean the warrior is obviously taking advantage of it too. You've got that warrior sitting at 3rd DPS, really right behind the soul beast. So
Something interesting they note about is that instead of sending all people down for Saul, or up, I guess, they actually only send 2 or 3 in their strategy highlights. So it's an interesting idea. I have actually never thought about that, rather just the fully sacking, because the extra 25 they do fully sack. But it's an interesting idea. Unfortunately, the lower HPs of Deimos, it kind of just drags on. 10%'s not a very fun phase, so watching it's kind of dull no matter when you watch it, I think, in my opinion.
I disagree. We'll see if this group does it. But in other PVs that I've watched that we will look into soon, they do a really good job about baiting oils. Because that first oil spawns right away when he's doing that slam. Yeah, look at that. They bait it on the right side, and then everyone can DPS freely on the left. This group even gets a signet at 10% instantly, so it goes pretty quick. That just comes down to your DPS and your timing with the signets. Because the signets are on a 60-second cooldown, but they are affected by alacrity. So if you're not giving alacrity to Saul, then you just need to line up perfectly, and it's going to be based on your damage.
Alright, gentlemen, the POV is already over. Like, you guys are still going on, but I believe we need to give a little bit of a shout out to Pragmatic Raiding for that comp. Triple Firebrand? Am I so behind the meta that this is relevant, guys?
So one of the biggest,
Firebrand.
I mean, why we mentioned earlier that Condi is actually
Yeah,
almost as strong as power, if not stronger, on a lot of bosses.
indeed.
One of the big advantages to having all these firebrands is you can spam a lot of Aegis and you can make sure no one gets knocked back. If you really have if you want to, you could greed and not get into the ward for any of the mind crushes because you can just block it.
yeah.
So You know, firebrand stacking is not an uncommon thing, especially a very common thing in pugs now.
Indeed. That's some real crazy stuff. Okay, then let's watch the POV, shall we?
I think the most interesting thing about the comp is the Scourge, actually. It's interesting to see that. Probably not a Scourge. We'll see it later, probably, but it's just interesting to see only one Scourge.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious where that's going to go.
Oh, and we get the Scourge POV, too.
People are complaining about logs in chat.
It looks like we're going... Yeah, I just pinged Evo about it. It looks like they're going with the standard Herald Handkiter. No fancy Boon Herald things here.
Well, what kind of Herald Handkiter? They're actually different kinds. Is this like going to be the standard like damage reduction one, or are we going to see like them jumping in group with hammer while they're damage reduction, or are they trying to do full DPS?
Ooh, I'd love to see it jump into the green with hammer 3 and go down with the group.
I love doing that. There's nothing more satisfying than when you're going up after killing Saul as a Herald Handkite with hammer and hammer 3ing and then immediately dying because the game kills you if you're hammer 3ing while you're going up. Well, I guess interesting. No Soul Beast here. No one wolf pack on the bursts, but it's because they're running mainly Condi.
Yeah, full Condi comp.
Yeah. So actually, Firebrand's F1 is actually affected. The F1 passive on Firebrand is affected by one wolf pack. So,
do you know? Do they get F1 resets off the Sauls? I actually don't know that.
No, you don't.
You do not? Okay.
Nope.
That would be a huge gain.
He is making use of that epping off of Saul when they come port back from 75 and 50. It's huge damage for Scourge here. So if the Scourge doesn't have any niche purpose, it at least does pretty good damage.
Maybe better writ uptime for those.
Looks like they get a third Signet. Can't push it quite to 10% though.
Oh, no sack here actually.
Yeah, they're actually not sacking 25%.
They do have a lot of Condis still on the boss though, so it might be down to, you know, it was at 20 I think when they left, so we'll see what it's back. Yeah, so
and you
it
get
went
the
down
exposed
a few.
debuff on the 25% Saul, so those Condis do melt him quite quickly. And you also get that extra Appy, I guess. But only one Scourge to make use of it.
I'm a big fan of the Firebrand stacking. It's kind of sucks that they really changed Ashes to be a lot worse on bursting than it was. I'm really not a fan of it, but Ashes now 1 second ICD per application, so bursting's a lot slower in Firebrand, but it's still not a bad burst.
That's way more impressive than anything I can find myself doing, to be fair, lads.
Let's see if they get a Signet.
I wouldn't spit in that.
So this is the other advantage to all those Firebrands. You know, they don't have to worry about the knockbacks, really. They've got all the Aegis, they can go into Book 3 and spam Stability. They've got many ways to deal with that. They sadly did not get a Signet at 10%, so they did not get to speed up that phase.
Is there actually a way to properly organize in order to make sure you get the Signets?
Yes.
Yes.
Hitting DPS checks.
Yeah.
It's making
DPS
DPS
checks, and you can
Okay.
apply Alacrity to Saul to lower the cooldown, so we cast it more frequently.
So the Signet is every 60 seconds, so you either have to line up every 60 seconds, or you give a lack, like Diaxon said earlier, to Saul, and you can make it happen quicker. So it's all about, you know, timing up kind of that 10% with your group's consistent DPS.
Alright.
Funny enough, Saul also, it'll be affected by quickness. He'll cast it faster if you apply quickness to him somehow. And he needs line of sight, so he needs to be facing the boss.
Okay, that's a lot of factors to take.
It doesn't really matter for 99.9% of groups, right? But it's just a tidbit.
Okay, I mean, like, this is always something I wanted to try doing into my runs, but I could never manage to get it to work the way I wanted it to, which always made me feel like a bit of a pepega, but, you know, we do what we can do. Anyways, we move onwards. We are at Relax and Ignore DPS. Rank 11. That looks like a pretty normal comp. Double Firebrand, you already explained what it was good. The Holosmith, I guess that's currently the best power burst. I think I've seen some pretty good damage coming from them. Why the double Scourge though? Is it to like complement the fact that they have maybe one less healer?
Probably double Epi and yeah, a little bit of barrier addition.
Scourge itself, and we will see why, I guess.
Scourge itself is a really strong class. I believe the bench is around 37k right now, maybe 38.
37? I
so
remember
it is
being a bit lower than that. That's
37.4.
Well, so it was lower. I don't know if Scourge itself got changed, but the Torment changed back in May. Really buffed its damage significantly. I think it was...
It did get buffed. It was Soul Barbs and Bleeding on Crit. But yeah, I mean, they're running a mirror comp with like double RR, double Firebrand, and then Hollow for damage. Then they have the Spellbreaker Handkite instead of just a normal DPS. Banners, Warrior, then a Druid Healer. I'm not sure what the additional 2 Scourges are for, but it's not like it's a bad choice.
But like, Scourge in this fight is just good because you get the Eppies, and there's probably just keeping up perhaps some, I wouldn't say unique condies, because a lot of them can be applied by the Druid and the Rens, but more like just keeping them up, like through Eppies.
But do you actually need the double Epi though? Like, wouldn't one be enough?
Perhaps.
Well, so nice. They're probably not epiing from Deimos to Sol. They're epiing from Sol to Deimos, and so it's just increased damage on Deimos. You'll likely see every time they come back up from Sol, the Scourge damage for both of them is just going to shoot up the charts because they're going to instantly apply a ton of condies from Sol to Deimos.
Yeah, speaking of that, you can actually see their damages. At least cleave is significantly higher than the Hollows, which already have massive cleave.
Yeah. You also have, I guess, you know, Firebrands can take advantage of it a little bit, but mostly for the Hollows. With the double Renegade, you spread Assassin's Presence on everybody. You're guaranteed.
I'm going to try to time this with the stream delay, but we're going to see a sick play from the Spellbreaker Handkiter here in a second, I believe, in this POV. Just wait and watch, I guess.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it now that you've teased it. DX, why you do us like this? Yeah, like my eyes are open and I see nothing.
What if it's the wrong POV and I forgot?
Wait, everybody downed? Is it the War Banner? Is it the War Banner gameplay?
Oh
my god, it is so clean!
So one of the benefits to Spellbreaker Handkite, I guess.
Yo, that was sick.
That's big.
That was big. Like the real gaming.
Good run. Yep.
Oh my god.
I mean, it's worth noting they probably had time to just stand in the ward and then move out because they were about to phase. So they were trying to bait the oil outside of the ward. But it was kind of unnecessary.
Oh no, they had a disconnect.
Oh, I mean,
also, I want to mention this before we finish because it'll almost be done. This Hollow's running pinpoint distribution. Just want to mention that. Not a very common skill, but it's
that's
I guess it's big, because they have like 6 Condi players damage wise, right?
Yeah, that's pretty big for the Scourges, the Rens, and the Firebrands.
Whoa. Okay, guys, am I actually seeing things correctly? Wait, I need to clean my glasses for like a hot second. I'm putting them back on. Is Calamity really at rank 10? Have they fallen?
Yes.
Have they fallen?
There's a bit of a surprise in this kill.
Because I remember CA being like the chat spamming guild, you know, like the strong lads. What happened? Let's watch that POV and understand, because I don't.
Here's the thing: is you only have an hour to get a kill, and sometimes you have issues within an hour. I don't know what caused them to be at rank 10, but sometimes you do have some issues within an hour. You know, it could be internet problems, could be many things. What a wonderful chat cover, though.
Yeah, that chat cover. I mean, he's dancing so fast now because we're on 1.5 speed.
Intentional because of what goes wrong in this kill.
Oh, teasing already, are you?
I do want to mention, at least about the comp, because I actually think this comp's kind of neat after the ones we've seen so far, having 3 Scourges and 4 Renegades. Renegade's probably one of the best Condi DPS classes right now. One of the best. If there's another one later on, I think that's the best. But Renegade's really close to being one of the highest DPS Condi specs, and it has a pretty decent Condi burst, with Firebrand kind of falling to the wayside. There's only really one spec I can think of that's slightly better, but I think everyone might know what I'm talking about, but I won't say.
Can we also acknowledge the fact that we're watching Screen Shake right now?
I mean, it's creative. Like, you gotta give it to them. It's like extra added RP value. Okay.
One special thing they're doing here is a Scourge Handkite. They don't even have a full-on healer, I don't think, unless they have a heal brand.
Oh,
they lost someone.
Yeah,
I think that was the 75. Was that the 75% GG?
Oh,
or the 50% GG? Sorry, 50%.
Hey, that was a 50% GG, I think.
So that's one of the benefits of Scourge here, or on most fights, is it's a lot easier to drop the healer because of all the bear you have. And one of the benefits to the Condi comp here is that you kind of have freedom with your positioning to have good oils and keep the boss as stationary as possible, which also will benefit your torment damage.
That's very ballsy to do a sacrifice at 50%, isn't it?
Well, so we actually, Sam, the Deimos was actually the first boss that I competed in Raid League with, and we did the same thing with Scuffed Opening with GG. We GG'd the 50%, because if you don't go down, then Saul will just stay down, or up, or whatever. But if you go and then you die, or you go and then you GG, Saul comes back to the group, and they've got to now deal with him.
And
whoa,
yeah,
yo, they're
they
all
actually had
hitting the
extremely
ground.
quick 110, but unfortunately have a 60-second 10% here.
Yeah, I mean, that's
quite
very
unfortunate to
violent.
see.
That oil is so huge, the US are invading the area.
Yeah, we want
This
it.
reminds me of Pugs, I'll be honest. Not saying that CA is any bad, but this happens all the time in Pugs.
This is
a very
I
common
mean,
thing. You
the
can't kite
Scourge
very well.
is
That 1%
a master gameplay. Like, master gameplay from the Scourge, though.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
This is
MVP.
this is the part of the thing with this boss is it can snowball so fast. You know, one person touches the oil, or you get one bad teleport into an oil, and it just snowballs, and it can fall apart.
Bio
Take back what I
POVs
said
in the
about
chat, Jesus, there is no respect.
So we finally see a power comp on Cormier
Yeah.
in. A very
Lots of
aggressive
soul
comp
beasts.
with
I like
a
this.
10-man quickness chrono.
That's my
Weaver.
jam.
A core guard.
Wait,
Yep.
what? Yeah, indeed. Like, the Weaver has me curious, because I was under the impression that they weren't that great in the current meta, but maybe you guys can enlighten me a wee bit over there?
They're high risk and not much reward, but it's not bad. It still does competitive damage.
Oh,
It just also doesn't provide anything to the team other than that damage and some CC. Conjure
okay.
sharing, I suppose.
Weaver
In the
is
last
it's just a my personal issue with Weaver is it's just greedy. Like
Is that you're bad
it
at
doesn't.
it?
yeah, it doesn't bring much
Okay,
to
yes,
the table
I'm terrible.
apart from its DPS,
I'm terrible
right?
at Weaver. I'm terrible at Weaver, but yeah. it
What's
brings-
that
it
heavily
brings very little
edited
to the table.
POV? Jesus.
They're also running Druid Hand Kite.
Are they hiding
Druid's still
some
really beneficial
game
here.
mechanics? But like, yeah, the Weaver is actually putting in work, though.
Yeah,
And
speaking
they're
of
buffed
Weaver,
by Bane Signet or buffed by the one Wolfpack.
yeah, speaking of Weaver, it's actually we saw last time in Raid League with the Samurai, the Weaver is always the highest DPS. While Weaver may not bring a lot to the group, it is a really high DPS spec. I think it might be outshined by Hollow, but there's some argument to be made. It's really close, at least especially in Burst.
Look at.
I guess if you could properly organize all the signets, all your DPS windows, if you buff like the Weavers you have to the fullest with one wolf pack and everything else, could you actually maybe get the fastest kill? Just because you are using a class that is very selfish, but actually has the burst to back it up. Like, is this possible?
Probably. I mean, Weaver has high enough damage. You theoretically could.
Okay,
At
because
least
I'm
in
actually
the record with Avast, they try to actually bring as much like group sharing as possible. So we do see core guards here. They're probably sharing Bane. They're probably running Virtues. Well, they have to run Virtues. What we're talking about. And sharing Bane is obviously good to the group, getting one wolf pack shares. But now we see some problems going on with the hands because of the Druid hand kite. Having to spread the hands around it makes it a little hard for people to stand in the right space, especially for a soul beast who roots the place for so many attacks.
they lost their hand kiter, right?
Before we move on from this video, I just want to look like this guy has his self skills up at the top, and you can see one Wolfpack is the second highest damaging skill,
Yeah,
which
indeed.
just shows you how strong that utility is. I mean, it's an elite skill, but it shows you how strong it is and why Soul Beast, even with the one Wolfpack nerf, is still taken in a lot of scenarios.
But yeah, like,
I mean, now obviously he's getting an extension. He's getting 2 other one Wolfpacks, but it's still it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be the second highest skill on your bar.
Wouldn't be surprised if you looked at the log afterwards, did a calculation, found one Wolfpack be the highest single damaging skill in that fight.
Probably. Yeah, it would not catch me off guard at all.
To be very honest about all of this, like, I'm actually looking forward to all of these explanations that you guys can give about classes and everything, because since EOD is coming up quite soon, in like 6 months, it is quite important that we explain how the classes work, in case some people are actually getting to the game right now and maybe are gonna stumble upon this stream or the VOD afterwards. So, particularly important that you do all of that.
Hey Sam, you remember Purple Stack?
Yeah, I mean, I started saying this, and then I looked at the screen, and I was like, I'm such a dumbass, right? Okay, here I am advocating classes, explanations, specializations of that, and we get the Scourge stack. Now, you know what? Let's watch the video, because maybe there is a good surprise in all this, right?
Are you saying Scourge isn't surprising? Scourge is always surprising.
Well, I mean, hey, it's a top 10 kill.
No. There is no surprise about Scourge. The only surprise is how many of them you're gonna have.
Well, so one of the advantages to Scourge is if you have enough of them, you just don't need a healer. They bring blood as power, so you got might. They've got plenty of barrier and self-sustain, and the barrier helps the rest of your squad. Renegade also has an insane amount of self-sustain through a trait that gives them what's called battle scars. And, I mean, the Chrono's probably a little bit scared sometimes, but it's kind of crazy.
Chrono, so he's running Inspi, he has bunches of Aegis Share and self-distortion.
Yeah, it's such a safe comp, and with relatively recent balance patches, it's now such a high damage comp.
You know what? I'm actually, like, I'm not gonna talk about this at all, but, like, I'm so happy that this person is playing on, like, I think that's
wide monitor.
Wide monitor.
Yeah. That's wider than 1440.
I mean, this is the best POV. Like, yeah, it's like 2000 times 1080 or something. This is so good.
I'm way zoomed in.
Personally, I'm gonna be very disappointed if we don't see some pictures drawn with these hands.
It reminds me of watching Prod's POVs whenever he like benches, he does a Scourge bench, for instance, where it's
and
like
you can't tell what's happening.
Smallest UI imaginable. It's like, jeez. I love the Spellbreaker hand kite. I can't get over it. It's such a fun looking hand kite. My only thing I wish is that they ran longbow and shot the boss, but honestly, I probably couldn't.
I was gonna ask. I don't know. I've actually never hand kited. I very rarely play warrior. It's kind of memed about by some of my friends. Can you bring rifle or longbow on Spellbreaker Handkite? And
I mean, the real question is it really
out?
worth? Like, does it actually make that much of a difference? Because if you, like, especially in a competition like the Raid League where you only have 1 hour to produce the log, is it actually worth taking that extra risk instead of making sure that you're going to have a smooth kill by having all the blocks? That's the real question I have. Like, I would be afraid to swap out of my blocks.
It's not that it's easier or safer, it's that it's more fun. Also,
looks like they had a bit of a rough 10%, but it is worth noting that in 110%, only Aegis works on the slams, but at 10%, stability works. So they had a road, they had Jalis on the Renegade for that.
Oh, you need to weapon swap for the adrenaline, so you, like Rexa just said in the chat. Okay.
Okay, so I mean, okay, so you could probably run it, but you'd only have it up half the time.
Okay, I mean, that's some good explanation, but I say we watch TTS taking them down for Renegade comp, double Scourge. Like, once again, the double Scourge, you guys said it was for the EP, but I'm really thinking it's just to supplement the absence of a second healer. Like, you get so much mileage.
More the case.
You get
that's
so
probably
much
part of it,
mileage in this. Like, it's such a good class. It's literally the god class right
now. Now something to keep in mind is very recently Scourge had a bug that was fixed. Basically the bug caused it to do I don't know, like 2 to 3k more DPS.
What?
On most bosses.
That's
it was
so
kind
much.
Per Scourge. Per Scourge.
Per
Scourge.
What?
It kept stacking. The more Scourges you put in, basically there was an internal cooldown on some traits that did damage, and each Scourge would reset other Scourges ICD. So the more Scourges you stacked, the better it got, essentially. They also changed to the Scourge heal, I think it's called Sand Flare. So it only gives barrier to the Scourge that casts it, whereas it used to give barrier to that Scourge plus their 4 allies in their party.
Jesus.
So they lost a little bit of damage, which they should have. It was a bug. And then they lost a little bit of sustain, or group sustain, in the form of that heal getting nerfed. So it is, while it still brings, solid barrier without any sacrifice whatsoever, and really good damage, it is a little bit worse than it was 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah, the demonic lore change was what really pushed Scourge back to where it is right now, which is probably just barely outside like the absolute meta of stacking, because stacking it was just so high value.
I mean, if you want to see that bug really in effect, go watch the QTP record that was recently put out by 17 Elitists. The old record was around 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and they put it down to 2 minutes and 50 seconds like a week or two ago.
That's so big. I mean, you're saying that, but QTP is the second boss on today's Raid League. Maybe they outdid themselves. We don't know.
They could have.
Yeah. We need to wait and watch. Maybe, once again, they will showcase the most absurd display of skill.
I guess we haven't really speaking about this one specifically. This is Renegade stack. Renegade stacks are fine. One thing people don't think about with Renegade stacks, and perhaps sometimes isn't that big a deal, but Razor Claw overriding can be a thing. So if two people place Razor Claw at the exact same time, then you actually...
That might be one of the reasons they took the double Scourge here, to not have too many Renegades competing with each other.
Maybe. Yeah, Renegade itself is a really high DPS class, and there's not really another option besides Kala to run. I mean, it used to be Shiro, but Shiro's pretty bad, so they're probably mostly running Kala.
Alright.
You can run the Cursed Jalis Malix, so you get a road for 10%.
I actually love it.
You guys have weird
worth
tastes.
it when you have double Firebrand.
Spinny hammers.
Spinny. We call that a fidget spinner where I'm from. But anyways, Caudecus Ministry, rank 6, 3 minutes 11. Rainbow comp, almost. I am surprised at the double core guard. Is it once again in order to get access to a lot of ages and making sure that you can stay in Unburst? Is that it?
That's probably part of it. I wouldn't be surprised if one of them maybe took... Sorry, it's called Advance now. Had to catch myself. I almost said Retreat. But it's probably more likely for Bane Share.
People made too much fun of the French people spamming Retreat, and they had to change it to Advanced.
But DH can also take Bane Share. The benefit of Core Guard is that you're taking Virtues and Bane Share. You just have to make sure that you have good Aegis uptime for Unscathed Contender DPS. So they're in the Firebrand subgroup. Hopefully they're optimizing it and trying to reapply the Aegis as soon as it gets stripped from these slams.
That poor Hollowsmith.
One reason you run Core Guard over Dragon Hunter here, especially, just another reason. We mentioned Advance, but the thing about DH is if you run Advance, you're losing a utility that's very powerful. On Core Guard, you have an extra utility slot that you can use for anything, which you usually use for Advance anyway. So that ends up being a good choice. That's why people don't tend to run Dragon Hunter as much in like the highest end, especially when you're running Bane Share.
We're actually getting a comment, I believe, from someone in the in this actual kill that says they're both, Virtues, Core Guard, both ran Retreat / Advance.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, Advance, I guess we should say.
I'm looking at this and I just feel so bad for the poor Hollowsmith, who is not getting either of those Banes, nor are they getting one Wolfpack.
They're getting AP.
It's okay, he's not on blue class, he doesn't deserve it.
They are getting AP.
It's worth noting that most of the groups that we're seeing now are stacking 50%, and one of the huge reasons that this is valuable is because that 50% signet, or that second signet is lining up with the 50% sap, right? So you want everyone up there to burst that signet instead of going down to Sol.
Okay.
Any Blood Reckoning gamers in chat? Keep themselves alive?
I mean, actually keeping himself alive quite well. He just got a friend who might try to go for it. Nah, never mind.
And you saw right before he downed, he dropped banners because he has nothing else to do, I guess.
And, I mean, they're still active even though he's dead, right? But that still ticks.
No, they're not. They removed.
What a shame.
They remove when you die, yeah.
Was that always the case,
optimal
however?
to have the warriors sacked at 50% though, because the banners still are ticking when they're down here running around.
They can leave the banners with the group on Deimos. They did get 10% signet. You can see that health is just being decimated.
Well, their health is also being decimated, but...
When you're down in the area for too long, you get a debuff, and so the sacks usually get more and more of the debuff, so they take more and more damage. It's just a stacking debuff.
Right. Once again, we get to the top 5. Lonely Raiders in your area. Once again, Scourge comp. What do we gotta say about this? Let's just jump in, I guess?
Listen,
well,
all I gotta say is...
So the Scourges definitely are for the barrier.
All I gotta say is this is absolutely my favorite POV to watch.
For real?
That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh yeah, then let's go right
Not
into
even
it.
our own. I would rather watch this one 10 times than our own Diaxon.
Whoa!
That's fair.
What a low blow. I love this intro though. This is high quality content.
Yeah, also we need an intro, Diaxon.
This chat cover, okay, hit me up. Everyone knows that I'm a weeb now, so just give me the IGN of that person. We have stuff to talk about.
I love looking at the DPS here.
They dropped their druid, so they brought in a herald, a boon herald, but not just any kind of boon herald. They went Condi boon herald, which is a relatively new thing that people are using, and that's just what makes it my favorite thing. Is it's new and it's unique.
Actually, I wanted to ask that question, thinking about the fact that people are now relying on Scourge more, bringing like Condi Boon Herald, stuff like this, you know, that everybody's trying to get a little bit of some hybridization going on. Do you guys think it is time for the revival of Condi Druid? Because I've been waiting years for Condi Druid to be a thing again.
Selly stats are big value.
I've tried, Sam. It's just not there.
No.
There are some records where it's used. I think maybe I'm wrong here. I haven't looked at it. Doesn't CA use that?
I mean, I talked about bringing it to Deimos, but we didn't end up going with that.
It should be good on Deimos because Condi Druid actually brings a lot of unique Condis for those sweet Holosmiths.
But they didn't need a healer at all in this comp, right? So there's really no reason for the Condi Druid. I mean, I guess they don't have spirits. Actually, they do. They have a Soul Beast. I think they're even running Soul Beast Handkiter. At least in P1, I noticed that. And then the Condi Herald is applying all the boons that the Druid is missing, right? They have regen, protection, swiftness, some might, fury, all that good stuff.
Soul Beast Handkiter is very easy to play, to be fair. You have access to so much in
every class here is actually bringing something to the team in some way. Like, for example, the Firebrands are bringing quickness, also some might. The Scourges are bringing might with Blood is Power and Barrier. The Warriors obviously bringing banners. The Herald's bringing a whole bunch of boons. The Renegade's bringing Alacrity. The Soul Beast is bringing Spirits and one Wolf Pack and Vulture Stance, I think they're running as well. So just a whole bunch of sharing. Every single class is bringing something here.
Yeah, long have been gone the days of people thinking that you just need to boost your DPS and that this is the way it works. Now everybody can just bring something in, and that's how you win. Wipe taking rank number 4 with their performance this time around. Lots of reliance on Renegade and Firebrand, I see. No warrior, no banners. What do you guys think about that, actually?
I'm fine with it.
Okay, because that's like
I think it might still be worth it. It is somewhat more optional in a Condi comp.
Listen, when you're looking at what to drop in your comp, first of all, I probably would have... I mean, in this comp, ideally, you probably could have dropped the Druid and kept the banners if you really wanted to, but Druid or banners are going to be the first thing you drop in comps. It's just, especially a Condi comp, because you don't necessarily need the banners as much as a power comp does.
Okay.
It's kind of unfortunate, but Warrior is just, like, when the Warrior is in the group, it's bringing banners. And
for power comps, Warrior brings power, precision, and ferocity. So it's really good, obviously, for power. For Condi, only brings Condi damage and precision for some classes that matters. So it's a lot less value.
Yeah.
Because I was actually concerned with that, because earlier you said it's all about individual classes bringing in their individual stuff, and here we are actually having like one major buff being completely absent from the things.
Now in the chat, we're not calling banners useless. We're just saying they're not as useful in Condi comps oftentimes over another just straight up Condi DPS player.
Yeah. This group is also running a Druid tank. That way the Druid never leaves Deimos and his spirits never despawn, because normally they will die if you go down on the greens and fight Saul as a Druid.
Yeah, that's due to the distance. If you're too far from them, they just die.
Yep.
It's the same as the portal on a Mesmer, for people wondering how that works. If you go too far away from it, the skill cancels itself out.
Hey, so what's that 4th skill in the Firebrand called?
Advance.
Utility? Thank you. I can't
Advance.
remember.
I mean, I'm all in. No, I'm all in for it being called Advance, because all the French players now feel better about using it. Because before it was just a meme. Like the French player spamming retreat. What a classic.
It's the meme. The meme is what ANET put in their patch notes. We're replacing the name to Advance because Guardians never retreat.
That's a good one. I appreciate it. But yeah, people are already sharing the Condi Boon Herald build. I guess a lot of stuff will happen with that. I'm very hyped about the next specialization event. I'm looking forward to it to see what we get as a replacement for Druid. Well, for Soul Beast. All right, coming in on the podium. Let's talk a little bit about the podium. So, practice is overrated. Peepo Boom. That's an interesting name for a least interesting comp, if I may say. 5 Scourges.
Oh man.
Am I the only Scourge over here?
Peepo Boom. I hate Scourge.
I mean, I'm not a Scourge enthusiast myself either, so...
I think there should be a bit of more of a trade-off if you're going to take them for their sustainability of the squad.
Yeah, I'm going to start the POV, lads, so we can discuss about
I know this group tried power comps, but they went with a safer Condi comp. Just Condi's so much nicer to play in a lot of scenarios. You have more freedom of movement on Scourge, more sustain, easier to drop that healer.
It's really good.
Portal? Sandswell?
Wait, look at the chat cover.
They have this Sandswell because they're using it to port into the ward as a handkite. It's a nice little optimization. Is it worth the Epi DPS loss? Well, they're probably stacking 1525, so they'd only get 1 Epi anyways. Maybe it is worth.
Wonder if they could just bring Epi over Sigma.
They maybe... They do have 2 Renegades, so they're getting life force off of the Callous Spirits dying.
That portal use is so sexy.
It is.
It's great. It's great.
I love this. Okay, I take back everything. This is such a great kill. Such a masterful display of Scourge abilities. I am enjoying this.
Sam, you just gotta be a Scourge lover like me, and then one day you'll realize that every POV is like this for Scourge.
No.
No. Here's my issue with Scourge Crawl. When I play Scourge, looking at my animations, I can never tell if I have quickness or not, and it just doesn't matter because everything is slow and clunky on Scourge anyways.
What?
Have you played
Fire?
Can the two VTubers stop taking blows at each other like for a second? Thank you. Thank you.
I love you, by the way.
Okay, good. I like that.
It's leader. It's the teapot POV.
The teapot POV.
Whoa!
Okay. I mean, yeah, teapot is the genuine Scourge enjoyer.
Unfortunately, with their timing here, I believe they're getting the 3rd signet into, or like they didn't get the 3rd signet yet, but it might be happening into Invuln.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, so Saul can apply the signet to Deimos Invuln, which means it never actually gets applied.
Like, the real question I would have, however, is that in a slightly less experienced run that has less damage, that method of kiting with the Scourge would be entirely impossible, given to the fact that they cannot stack the hands, right?
Yes.
Like,
so
it would actually turn out to be an issue. You need high DPS for it to work.
Exactly. You need relatively high DPS, or the Scourge will just run out of room and will die.
You guys stack hands and pugs?
I mean, yeah. Like, especially in pugs. Especially in pugs, man. How the fuck do you expect them to be able to run around if you cover half of the area with hands? Hands should be in the pockets, nowhere else. Jeez. Anyways, 2 minutes, 27 seconds, 17 elitists. They are not number 1, but that timer. Lads.
So, this is a really interesting comp. It's really diverse, because it's not a Condi or a power comp. It's a bit of both. They have, like, double Condi RR, they have Staff Mirage.
Start the POV.
But then 2 power Holosmiths.
We've got the Mirage plus the double Renegade, which is something
They dropped the
would
Druid.
be relatively uncommon.
They dropped the Druid without stacking Scourges, because they're getting Might from the Mirage.
I was hinting at it earlier, but this is the best Condi DPS spec right now, in my opinion. Condi Daredevil is
extremely overpowered, yeah.
It's kind of ridiculous.
If you look at its bench, only it's 40k, but if you don't realize that everything it does is a finisher. And
I said it was 2 RRs, but they're not actually RR, they're just Condi DPS Renegades.
But they're getting an insane amount of freaking burning bolts off those Mace 2s.
Exactly. So this Condi Daredevil is insane. It's insane burst, it's insane sustain, it just does everything. And it even gets mag bombs if you really feel like using them.
I love the confidence at the statues at the very beginning to walk to the side and use dagger 3. I think I'd be terrified. It would just send me off the edge.
This happened to me so many times on Xera, actually, not on Deimos, where I would just untarget Xera, use a movement skill, and be like, okay, guys, see ya at the end of the run. I'm done.
The other thing is everything that Conde Daredevil does is an evade, so they don't actually have to stop damaging to avoid anything.
In the oils.
Yeah, imagine if you actually had a sigil that improves your damage after a dodge. That would be so huge.
They have traits that do that.
Yeah, but like,
Yeah,
imagine a
like
sigil
that.
on top of it. Come on.
There's a food that gives you might when you dodge.
Okay. I love watching Conde Daredevil. I love playing Conde Daredevil. I'm a Conde Daredevil sim. I'll be honest. My favorite class in the game. It's so fun.
They get that 10% signet, and it'll die extremely quickly. Nice.
That was a beautiful run, to be fair. And in the number 1 position, Downstate Cucks. Well, I didn't expect that. I was expecting like personal best or... Wow. Okay. 1 second faster.
There's a lot
How
to
does
talk about
17
here, right?
Elitists feel about this?
There's a lot to talk about. One, we run a completely different comp. We
The
run.
Strapper.
You can play the POV.
Okay, let's get started with that.
We were
then.
honestly making iterations and differences and changes into our comp up until the hour where we started. We were running double scrapper for a while. We swapped it out for another DH and then the MOA signet, or MOA stance, sorry. So 3 for my rats plus MOA stance. Huge burst with the double 1 Wolfpack. I'm hand cutting on Druid, and we're running a Selly run tank. And then we have the P Chrono in that sub 2 for precog plus a little bit of extra quickness with time warp. That way we don't have to dodge slams, and it's still doing pretty insane damage. P Chrono got nerfed, but it's still very powerful for just personal damage and some extra utility, I suppose.
This is actually really impressive damage-wise.
The power comp dream isn't dead.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm actually enjoying this. Is Luna Night Stalker the Snowcrow's Luna? No.
Well, Win Luna, yes.
He's
Win Luna! Okay. I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding. And another thing, I'm not sure if another group that did it, but our tank also goes down on the 75% green, and then me as Handkite just tanks him temporarily while everyone is burning Sol. Even though our Sol was a little bit slow because we made adjustments and then kind of didn't readjust after making other adjustments, and you know, it just as it happens when you only have a couple days to grind. I want to mention that I was timing these kills. And we actually only are faster than 17 because we have a faster 10% roleplay, which is quite unfortunate. They phase him to 10% faster than us, but then we have a bit of a faster burst here due to the comp. We're about 3 seconds faster at 10%. We have the instant signet.
Alright.
And that 10% roleplay is not something that can be manipulated. It's just RNG. Quite unfortunate.
Alright. Well, that is really impressive, I gotta say. Like, I was expecting to see some very good runs, as per usual, but once again, very crazy runs, especially the last 2. I didn't think it could go that fast. That's sub 230, both of them. It's very good. Especially given the fact that it's only like the good 1 hour time window. You could have very poor runs, but you still manage to get some impressive stuff. So I guess we're just gonna stop for a few seconds on this Deimos leaderboard right there to congratulate once again Downstate Cucks and 17 Elitists for taking the 2 gold spots on the leaderboard, and still a very good round of applause for Practice Overrated Peepo Boom, taking the top spot in silver and 3rd spot on the leaderboard so far. Let's move onwards to QTP, shall we?
We didn't really talk about it before. I think QTP is worth talking about because once you get into it, it's probably a little simple, but like it's such a complicated boss. There's a lot of stuff going on, and for at least pugs, you're not going to do half of the stuff that these people are going to do probably. Especially tethers, just working with tethers the entire time.
Mm-hmm. The skill cap on the tether management is actually massive. in even the first phase, you can get up to like 7 stacks of the debuff, which is 40% increased damage, 35% increased damage, depending on whether
It's
you
5% per year.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be very awkward right now. I still haven't been a pylon player even once. I am very unaware, very unaware of how all of this works, and it's gonna show. So I'm just doing a wee bit of a disclaimer right there. Okay, I always manage to find someone else.
The comps are a bit... Well, they are... You do see some diversity here, but it's a bit unfortunate because you need to have 3 people kiting, and there's only a few classes that can really do that effectively.
Really?
You're kind of... You're forced into 3 kiters, and you're forced into 1 tank. I mean, I guess you could trade off tanks, and there is a little variety on what you could have tank, but 4 roles of this fight are pretty much hard locked in.
We used to see a lot more rifle Deadeyes because they did more in Scourge, but with all the changes to Torment, Tormenting Rings are so good in Scourge now, we're probably almost exclusively going to see Scourge's kiting, which is unfortunate.
There's very little damage as Scourge kite. With the they I guess they don't have permanent 25 might as kiter, unless you have some additional application.
Yeah, usually you run a Strength Sigil or your Druid's like spamming CA1 on you to give might.
Or even run just double Scourge Kite and give each other blood as power.
So here's kind of what I said, you know, you have a little bit of leeway on the tank. Like, they've got a Scourge tank. So there are different classes you could have tank. It's not like you're forced into having a, you know, Chrono or a Heal Brand. But it's...
I want to note they are... Sorry.
The biggest downside to being the tank is there's a bad tether that attaches to you, and you do 25% less damage when that's attached to you. So your tank is largely ineffective, or made more ineffective damaging wise.
This is also something interesting that they do differently than Pugs, is the way they drop the fires. So that way you have a fire not only from where the anomaly spawn towards the pylon, but also from the anomaly spawn to the middle. That way the Druid can, or the Scourges even, can just do range CC, and the fires will kill the anomalies, and instead of having someone DPS it down manually. Missed a spot south.
For those who are looking at the Scepter 3 in this, on this Scourge and wondering why it's looking different than perhaps you've seen on other builds, it's because they're not running Lingering Curse. I believe they're running Parasitic Contagion, which gives them extra healing so they can survive as tank. But your Scepter 3 changes entirely when you change that skill, the trait.
Alright.
Which is a trait they actually kind of buffed. It works on all weapons now instead of just Scepter.
It's quite strong. By the way, Ever was mentioning the Well of Power. I'm just, like, I'm pretty sure it's way too obvious, but I'm still impervious to how good it would be, considering that everything it does can be done by another class.
So it basically is, I believe he's using it for mostly himself, as the tank, to convert the vulnerability and other conditions that are constantly pulsing onto him into beneficial boons. The group is standing in it.
Like, Shades do that.
Shades do that, yes, but the Well of Power, you're constantly getting conditions pulsed to you as the tank.
Okay.
So Shades can't do it enough, or you'll run out of life force before you manage to convert them all anyway.
Right. Fair.
Some of this last phase,
I've never tanked either, so...
Yeah, there are 3 tethers, and everyone automatically has their special actually locked. And if you are tethered to the boss, I believe, now the you can correct me wrong, that's like 25% less damage when you're tethered?
I think it's 20%, and it can also spread to others.
Exactly, and so you can 9 total people tethered at the end there.
So ideally you bait those bad tethers, it's like the closest people to the boss when that phase starts, and have them like stand far away, so the other people don't get the bad tether spread to them. There's also a bunch of resolution uptime in the last phase, so that's 30% less damage for all the county DPS. Scourges help with that, with the Scepter 3 for Boon Strip and whatnot. Could even take Well of Corruption, I suppose, if you have a free utility slot.
Okay. I am having mixed thoughts about this comp, so I say we just watch the POV, and you guys explain what's special about it.
Well, they dropped the Druid, they have Mirage and Scourges for Might, it seems, and they don't need the healers because of the Scourges. And then they took a Soul Beast for the Spirit, and for the damage, for the Vulture stance, I suppose. those renegades are probably just for DPS, because you know there is diminishing returns on scourges. You don't need necessarily 7 of them to survive, or to do any of the other utility that scourge does. So they just supplemented their damage with renegades.
Yeah, something about this comp is like, well, I would almost call this a standard comp for a 10-man, perhaps maybe dropping a Scourge or so. When I say standard, I don't mean the best necessarily, but I mean one of the simplest ones that you could definitely do a lot of damage to Qadim the Peerless on, and you're going to be able to push pretty far. Having the Soul Beast for Spirits, having the Chrono Tank, having the Scourge's Kite, having the Renegade's DPS, you're really getting everything.
Yeah. It's actually not something I mentioned. It's a 10-man quickness chrono instead of like a double firebrand you typically see in a Scourge comp. What you're losing there in this comp, I guess, would be maybe stability with Stand Your Ground, but the Scourges could take trail, you could just dodge.
Just dodge, forfeit.
For the 40, 30%, 20% knockbacks. And I guess every phase is a knockback attack that you really don't want to waste time dodging because it's precious DPS time.
It's interesting seeing Shortbow on the Soul Beast.
Yeah,
I believe that's for CC.
I was gonna say that because I'm so used to seeing some hybrid Soul Beasts that I've actually not seen a pure Condi Soul Beast in such a long time.
Well, even on pure Condi Soul Beast, you don't want Shortbow.
It's just so consistent.
Now you do. Shortbow
right
Dagger Torch is the Condi Soul Beast build now.
I mean, it was the Condi Soul Beast. No, I mean, it was Condi Soul Beast at release. That's what it was with the Shortbow. And then it just started being supplanted by other stuff, and I guess now it's back.
There was a period where Condi Soul Beast was, I believe it was Dagger, Torch, Axe, Dagger.
Yeah.
But
so
that's still
after
build, but perhaps Shortbow's better.
After the May 11th patch, that one technically can hit higher numbers, but but it's not by much, and the Shortbow one is much more consistent and reliable.
Okay.
Alright, I mean, this is exactly why you guys are so helpful to me, because I once again shine by my lack of knowledge of what's up right now.
Regardless, I think they're running Shortbow even just for the Shortbow 5 CC, because you can see they were saving it during some phases to CC the pylon. And they're also running Warthog, which isn't a very standard pet. That's also for CC.
The Warthog was definitely for CC. That's not something I would have questioned, because that's just the best pet for that if you're playing on a Condi oriented build.
And Warhawk's actually much of a loss because
the water and Sun Spirit too.
Yeah. You get T8, you get twice as vicious uptime whenever you CC the boss, basically, and even if they don't have a break bar. So Warhawk's actually not that much of a loss.
Yeah, and the F1 on Warthog is actually a decent damaging skill, like compared to what other pets can give. This one's pretty good. Croc saying that Bristleback is better. You can say that on voice, bro. Step up.
No, I'm telling Illusion. No, the Bristleback's better only for if you don't need CC. The reason Bristleback's better is because F1 is affected by the number of ads around you. So like how Greatsword 5 on Dragon Hunter can shoot out 5 projectiles. Bristleback can shoot out 5, basically. Well, not 5, but more than 5. So it ends up being slightly better DPS wise, but not for CC, obviously.
All right. Moving onwards, FLIS, 12th position, 5-minute 4, 6 Scourges. Let's put the POV on, and guess tell me what up.
I'm surprised by the Herald.
That's a lot of Scourges.
Oh my gosh, the chat cover though.
Wait, it's moving. I was saying I was gonna read it, and...
Oh my god.
What the fuck is this chat cover?
Oh, this is a damage reduction. Yeah, I remember actually reading this. They said they had a damage reduction Herald build so they can stack the roads. So generally you get 2 roads per phase approximately. And if you have a damage reduction Herald, you could just stand in the roads the entire time and just stack them on top of each other.
Okay.
That's actually hilarious.
That's big brain. Yeah.
It's fun to watch.
This is so good.
I personally wish that there were more roads in this phase, so this became even better. Like imagine like 6 roads. Now suddenly this becomes really good. But as it stands right now, unfortunately, I have 2 roads. It's still nice. Don't get me wrong, but 2 roads.
Wait, I love this. I actually really love this.
This is actually crazy good. And like bringing the stability as well, right there, we saw it to avoid the CC from Qadim. This is actually good gameplay. This is enjoyable. I'm liking this. See, this is why each stream from the Raid League is so enjoyable to watch. There is always something novel going on. Exactly like this right there. This is great.
Yeah, I love watching the DR, damage reduction heralds, but they're probably gonna get nerfed again soon, I imagine. Seems like maybe we're top.
I mean, this is not broken. This is fine. But like for real though, there is nothing broken about this.
I don't necessarily disagree with you. I just feel like this is probably not exactly what isn't necessarily intended from the gameplay.
But I mean, it's a big trade-off. Like, if you start going this way build-wise, it's not like you're gonna bring any damage or stuff like this to the table, so it's fine.
That's true.
Like, I mean...
That's true.
It's just like at some point we had the crazy chrono tank stuff that could actually, in Minstrel, save an entire squad. Like, at some point you can have a build that's, like, literally going overboard in one way, just because it doesn't bring that much of the rest on the table. It's fine.
Well, remember back then though, they actually did remove this. If you're talking about distort share.
Yeah, distortion. They ended up removing it, but like distortion was strong because you could give it around. You could give it to others.
Yeah.
That was big. That's the reason why it was strong.
Distortion share on sloth shakes.
Yeah, that distortion share was what was too strong. What I'm seeing here is fine. Yeah, on VG especially, but what I'm seeing here is fine. And a chrono could carry an entire team of new players on these encounters, whereas now with this you can't do that, so it's fine. Right, I'm liking this. So Caudecus Ministry 11th position, 4 minutes 33, triple Deadeye. We've seen people going for the Scourge as pillar players so far, so the Deadeye is going to be a wee bit enjoyable. Let's have a look at the POV.
Yeah, so there's just a lot of things that Deadeye is worse on now for trying. Oh, the accident. Do you want to go? Sorry. Oh, are you muted? You're muted, Jackson.
I think
you've been muted since last POV.
We've lost the accent. He's back.
No, I'm here.
Okay, he's back.
Sorry. Okay. Well, the thing about Deadeye Kiters is that, unfortunately, I think that in the current meta with Scourges being good, that they just aren't quite as good as Scourges. That doesn't necessarily mean they're bad. They're pretty close if you get a really good Deadeye Kiter. So I'm not saying you could probably play it and do fine. And in fact, it's actually probably slightly, I don't want to say easier, but at least the Shadow Step is a lot easier than Scourges, because Scourge has a cast on the Shadow Step, well, it stands well, versus the instant cast on the Deadeyes. So I actually prefer playing Deadeye on Kiter.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely burstier phase by phase. One thing, though, is like on Scourge, your condies keep ticking even when you phase. When he does that bubble, he's still taking damage. And there might even be some lingering tether effects, because they are using the tethers very effectively in this kill. We'll see if they do it, but Deadeye is also good because you could manage the tethers during the 40 or even 30% pylon burns when he moves north to destroy the pylon.
One thing that DX mentioned earlier was that the tether, the more people that are tethered, the unique players are tethered, the more debuffs the boss get. Every debuff he gets is 5%. I think it can go up to 10, and that's 50% more damage total. And so it's almost always worth doing, even if you like lose a little bit of DPS doing it, because it's 50% of the entire squad.
So they are doing the tether there from East Pylon, with a Deadeye and a Druid tethering to the pylon. They don't quite get it to 30%, but it was still very close.
And so most of... Oh, sorry?
I was just going to mention something that someone talked in chat. Yeah, the Deadeye Shadow Step is a longer cooldown than Scourge Portal. So if you hit a certain DPS check, it's kind of harder to adapt as a kiter if you're a Deadeye.
I want to see Rifle Deadeye buffs. Rifle Deadeye just needs love. It's a really hard class to play. Well, really punishing, not hard. And it needs a lot to like be good, because it has... Well, this build doesn't have pre-med, but it also has every Condy in the boss dealing extra damage, so it's just nice to... I would like to see it better than it is right now.
Buff Might Deadeye. I know they just kind of made it better this recent patch, but could get some more love.
Has anyone tested the Fire Fur effect in priority? Is it correct now?
I'm not sure.
I think they're tether cutting here. The tethers. There's only 3 bad tethers, and they're all off group, mostly.
Yeah, they're still being shared a little bit, but they are trying to bait them. As soon as they've just gone wrong, it happens when you're doing an hour-long kill.
Yeah, left to say in chat they make it function. So.
Oh, it had been bugged. Okay, I thought it was just being like underappreciated, undertuned. Okay, Cormier in rank number 10, 4 minutes 15. That's already a big jump from the previous contenders time-wise. Let's watch it POV. You know, let's get
almost the same classes. They just implemented the Scourges instead of Deadeye. Bit easier to play, bit more consistent. Has all the benefit of Scourge for the group in the later phases, like Boon Strip with the resolution uptime.
We're seeing tighter POVs. So
yeah,
Sam, make sure to take notes.
Yeah, I'm actually taking notes right now because like the chat has pointed out how much of a casual weeb I am. Just you know, dabbing into anime and forgetting about playing Guild Wars 2, and I need to learn right there. Is the whole tethering part is the one I am like completely unaware of during the encounter, because I've never actually had to do that.
Especially in pugs, they don't really care much about it. But you'll see this kiter. They're standing really close to the edge to share that tether, because it's obviously distance related, and the other person wants to be as close to the group as possible at the same time. So, standing right at the edge, as close to the boss as you can as tether, without standing in the middle, because you don't want to get hit by the lines, the sharks in the lines, whatever they're called. I can't remember the name. Like avoiding that damage while also sharing the tether all at the same time is just such a big DPS buff. It's always worth doing.
Okay.
I guess it's just interesting to note that they're still running banners here. We mentioned on Deimos, and we'll probably mention here, we might possibly see a lack of banners in some fights. Possibly. Just because in Condi comps, like we said, it's not as valuable as it is in power comps.
I think this is the first pull we've seen where they actually do the DPS check. He doesn't spawn the bubble in middle, and you don't have to CC the pylons again. He goes right to the 30% pylon and destroys that after the 40% pylon.
That's where the
saves a bunch of time. Yup, yeah, so much time.
You mentioned, Sam, between this POV and the last one, there was a big time save. That's probably it right there, like the X mentioned.
Alright.
Yep.
Yeah. This is a... Now we might see tether kiting at the end here? Will we?
Looks like
the kiter tried to get it.
A little bit.
Uh-oh.
There's 2 people tethering, and then one person is sharing it to everyone. Sharing is caring.
Very common, actually, in these kind of endings. They can get snowballed because you have no idea who it's really hard to figure out who the person tethered is. And then they end up sharing it to 2 other people. And
well, once they do get tethered, it's almost impossible to, or not worth fixing it. Quite an annoying mechanic.
Okay. I'm at a loss for words, but nonetheless, Lonely Raiders in your area. Rank 9, 4 minute 12. That's already 15 seconds faster than no, 3 seconds faster than the previous run, I think. 7 Scourges. That's a lot. The green is the new purple. It's confirmed. Let's watch the POV.
So they just copy-pasted the recent 17 Elitist record kill. Except they added the warrior.
The one thing with the 17 kill is that it was done with the demonic lore bug, like as I mentioned earlier.
True.
So this is a lot less from losing the ICD.
Not using the simplified Condi floaters is triggering me. Yeah, this is actually hurting me.
I don't like watching POVs that have these Condi numbers this way.
Yeah, because it goes all the way. Like, how do you focus on the game?
So exaggerated and comical. I'm surprised you guys don't like it since you like anime. And it's
Whoa!
Yeah, that's not how it works. Yo, Jackson, that's not how it works. Jeez.
So true, Jackson. So brave.
Sorry.
Wait a minute. Do we actually have a 2v2 among the cast for be in anime favor and be against?
Wait,
is this like perfect balance?
I'm completely anti-anime. I didn't mean to come
Why
off
aren't
that
you?
way.
It's okay, Jackson. We all know that your first name in the Guild Wars 2 community was Kirito69 Kirito XXX 420. It's fine.
You really want to mention something about this?
Asuna
Staff
Lover
Mirage?
60.
Asuna Lover, he knows. He knows.
The Staff Mirage is not running Self-Deception, which is a really interesting choice. Self-Deception is a skill where if you use John, any deception skill, so like the False Oasis or Crystal Sands, you get a clone. They're not running it. It's a very interesting choice. I don't know what trait they're running over. Maybe the regen trait? I need a look.
I think it's the regen trait. Renewing Oasis, I think it's called.
Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, they're sitting at like less than 3 clones the majority of the time here.
Good little tether bit chaining all the way over for the southwest.
You guys think they're running Riddle?
We'd see it on their bar.
Well, they ambush a lot, so it might not ever be visible. Watch when they F2. Maybe we'll see a Riddle. Oh, regen trait? Okay.
Yeah, they don't have any other regen sources in this squad.
Mirage.
Disgusting.
Where's Ryan, dude? Someone tell... Well, no, actually, Ryan doesn't bench Staff Mirage. Where's Xenon, dude? Someone tell him to get a Riddle Staff Mirage bench.
We got
There's a
straw
straw
poll
poll
in chat.
going? Yeah.
Drop.
Oh, it's about rating the broadcasters.
Well,
They're
rating the
us.
broadcaster. Obviously, I'm putting Isa, Diaxon, and my boy Kra at 5. Naturally. Naturally, you know. Alright. Rank number 8, we've got Critical Fail. Time of 4 minutes and 9. Also, once again, 3 seconds faster. They exchanged Scourges for Renegades. Is it actually better?
Mm-hmm. I think it is, yeah. Renegade should do more damage than Scourge, and like I said, there's diminishing returns on Scourge. You don't need necessarily a full stack since the bug fix.
Okay.
There's also diminishing returns on Renegades, though, because of the Razor Claw.
That's true, yeah. They do compete over Razor Claw.
Whoa, the POV is lagging a little bit. Okay, never mind, we fix.
Nice little intro.
They also went for what could be considered safer and dropping the Mirage for just an actual healer. They have a Druid, and then I'm guessing the Renegades are doing Alacrity.
That's the thing that is interesting when watching the comps. Like the previous comp was playing safer on the amount of Scourges, but was actually running without a healer. Whereas this one, less Scourges, an actual healer. You'd think they'd do worse. Like if you weren't paying attention to everything that's going on. Yet somehow it's working just fine, and I think this is the beauty of comp creation in Guild Wars 2.
Oh,
you can actually
it is
afford...
a Connie Druid apparently. Someone.
Oh wait, I'm happy. I mean, then again, with 10.9k damage.
Sam.
Oh look, it's 10k.
With 11k damage, that's definitely a Connie Druid. Like you wouldn't get that on like a healer at all.
Maybe if you give one wolf pack to a Boga.
No, even with that.
You can't give one more pack on Druid. Come on, Diaxon.
No. Another Soul Beast, not the Druid.
Oh, no. Yeah, just trying to bait Sam, dude.
Nah, it's fine. You can't bait me, man. I'm so casual that I don't even get half the jokes. It's fine. I got this. However, yeah, what I was saying before we went around talking about the Conti Druid is the beauty of Guild Wars 2, like comp creation, is that you can actually afford to put more sustain or to put more heal and still manage to come out on top, just because you can then play around it differently. Like I think
lost some DPS there. They hit the 30% check or the 40% check, but then they tried to tether and it didn't work out so well.
Yeah, a little bit of an over focus on the mechanics that played in their defavor.
Well, QTP is quite annoying to grind. It's really about hitting those DPS checks, and so sometimes if you just wipe the early phases, it can get annoying. There's also certain DPS checks you can hit that cause them to act very abnormally at these pylon destruction phases.
I didn't actually know that you could bug it out so bad. I haven't actually had QTP break on me ever, but then again I only pug it. And my pug runs are like 4 times the length of what we will see at the top runs, I think. we manage sometimes to hit the enrage timer, yes. Yeah, good stuff.
Just want to mention the tethers here at the end. Once again, chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to get him under control if you don't get him under control immediately.
Alright, alright. Tried and tested strategies, rank 7, time of 4-1. That's already way faster than the previous run we saw. A little bit more for diversity on their comp and a POV. That's gonna be right
now. Am I dumb or do I not see a second quickness source? Is it just Firebrand? Firebrand, and you do get quickness, alacrity, and some might from tethering. That only happens in like really P2 and 3 and some on P1.
I believe that's it, actually. There is no other source for it.
It's a very high boon duration Firebrand. If you look at the log, you can see if you're using the logs Chad mentioned too. Very high boon
Druid
duration.
tank as well.
Yeah.
With a great sword for the blocks.
Yeah, I mean it is quite creative. I like this. Skill clicker POV. That is true.
The log is literally lying to me because it's telling me that the Firebrand has similar duration to the Druid, so I guess not. Never mind.
I'm pretty sure you could afford to play
the duration
Druid
on the log is only counted by concentration, not modifiers. So maybe that's why.
I have to. Yeah, I believe you. I just don't know why the log should still. I mean, something weird's going on here.
Oh man, the greatsword even brings a CC. Nice.
I mean, yeah, of course. That's one of the. I mean, it can bring 2 CC actually, so it's quite useful of a weapon.
I have to do investigation on Druid's boon duration. Why is it? What's the difference? One's probably running Firebrand runes. Wait, are you running 5 runes with 40% boon duration?
He would have to be, right?
That would be 80% quickness then.
Unless he's like just full Celestial.
Let's do Pragmatic instead of Firebrand. So no Firebrand runes. Why is the log showing so much concentration? Whatever.
Right here, they're
Can you get that much
very
concentration just from your
optimally.
gear? No.
Yeah, so this is, yeah, you know that almost nobody else gained tether here, and that's a massive DPS gain. So.
Indeed, these last 15% were melting away.
Sometimes the tugs, this last phase can take 20 years, so it's good that they did it in a reasonable amount of time.
I'm done, guys. Just call me when Scourge gets nerfed, like for real.
Yes.
I'm gonna pull a Muru and take vacations, right?
See this is what I like to see.
No, this is not what we like to see. What the fuck are you? They're barely a second faster than a group that had such creativity going on. For real.
Are you saying this group doesn't have creativity?
I would dare say that 8 Scourges is not as creative as the rest. Like, I would dare. All right, it's fine. VTubers are living in their own dimension. One where Scourge is enjoyable, I guess.
Yeah, I used to love Scourge.
All right, let's go. Let's watch that POV. Wait, why does it offer me to have subtitles? What the fuck does these guys do with their videos?
Turn them on.
No. No. Can we have a POV of Condi Reaper? I would actually really enjoy watching Condi Reaper.
So, Condi Reaper, unfortunately, maybe we might see it one day with fields. They said that they made it so it was specifically personal fields first, and it seems that after some testing, it doesn't seem to be the case. Hopefully, it was just an error and like it can be fixed really shortly, because if once that gets fixed, Condi Reaper, big damage. But right now, in a raid scenario with a lot of fields being placed down, Condi Reaper doesn't quite get to the numbers it would on bench, and Scourge is easier to get that because Scourge doesn't need the fields.
And provides more to the team with barrier and stuff.
And you can run Tormenting Runes, which you can't really do on Condi Reaper as much. You can, but just a lot worse. I mean, I love this. I love watching this because without a healer, people always talk about it's so much barrier, and it is. But remember, Sandflare, I believe Ayeza said, doesn't heal It doesn't give barrier to other teammates anymore. It does heal.
The barrier is significantly less now, but tormenting moves still exist.
Yeah, but I'm curious if all of the Scourges are running tormenting, or only the Kiters are running tormenting, and the rest of them are just staying alive
look at
by
that.
a
So
barrier.
those giant fires that Qadim spawns when he destroys pylons do significantly less damage than the fires that we drop at 80 and 60%. But even with Scourge and Tormenting and all the sustain, they're not even going in. They can just range it down because Scourge just has that freedom.
Yeah, Scourge just almost doesn't lose any DPS from ranging, except for your Torch Force sometimes.
And I guess Jesus, what's the name of that skill? The Trail of... Is it Trail of Anguish? No.
You don't use Trail of Anguish anymore. Most of the time for DPS.
Because they're running it right there.
Yeah.
You would actually lose out on this if you were ranging the whole time.
That's true.
I mean, then again, he's not using it that often. I guess it's just for the... It has 1 second stability, doesn't it?
Well, right now that they're max stacking away from the other side who has the tethers.
Yeah, this is for stability almost like very likely.
Alright, coming in at the 5th position. Practice is overrated, Peepo Boom. I'm actually gonna like this POV, for real. I mean, this is creative, see?
This is
3
diverse.
seconds faster, I like this, yeah. Okay, I shouldn't say creative, you're right, diverse. Diverse is such a good word for that. Let's get right into it.
So, the return of the best Connie DPS spec in the game right now.
You mean
We're
Connie
not
Drill?
seeing as many as I thought we would. Connie Daredevil is extremely strong. It's a bit spooky to take more than one on this fight, though, because you don't have 10 players on the group. You have, like, 6 if you don't got the tank. So those Venoms might get overwritten, from the other Daredevil if you don't, I guess, space them out.
Yeah, for those who don't know, like, Ashes on Firebrand can stack multiple times, but on Connie Daredevil or any Thief class, the Venoms only stack once. So if you apply 2 at the same time, they get lost.
Well, actually, for Bassi it works, but for the utility Venoms it doesn't.
That's true.
Weird inconsistency.
Bassi didn't used to work, and then they changed it about 2 years ago.
Well, it doesn't seem to be stopping them. Those 2 Daredevils are popping off just slightly above the Renegades, who, to be fair, are also providing alacrity.
The thing about Daredevil here, especially, is that you're never going in the hitbox, which means that you don't have to worry about going off group. You're always on group while you're dodging and pressing dagger 3.
If you note some of their guild tags, maybe have someone's name, someone really sexy and cool.
Is that I'm just trying to see it. I'm sorry, I can't see the name. It's all blurry to me. I mean, it's not really blurry. I'm actually just lying, but I want to make it up, you know.
They get him to 25% in that second pylon burn. Pretty insane.
Now we're gonna see the tethers at the end too. I always like watching it, but also just a note, like the X mentioned last POV, these fires that Qadim plays do a lot less damage, so you can usually just stand in them and be fine.
Yeah, this is something that I didn't expect at all, being able to stand within the fires, because every time I've been playing, I've actually managed to see people dying to these fires. Even the ones from Qadim.
Yeah, the other fires do a lot of damage, especially if you stack them on top of each other. Yeah, well, like, you very commonly stack them to kill the anomalies, because we haven't really talked about it at all, because it's been dealt with, but there are 3 anomalies, well, not 3, but there are anomalies that spawn during the fight that you need to kill. And either you CC them in the fire, which does damage, or you kill them after CCing them.
Okay. Well, right now we're getting to rank number 4. Once again, 3 seconds faster than the previous one. Wonderful ideas, poor execution. This is almost perfectly symmetrical. I like this one. This brings me joy. It's balanced.
Well, Sam, you're saying you like this combo. Honestly, you could just replace the status with Scourges, and it's very close to the one you didn't like.
I know, but it's just because it's symmetrical that I like it. You know, it
But
pleases
not a common
my
class,
eyes.
so it's nice to see it in at least some
That's
bosses.
true.
Yeah.
That's true.
I'm not sure why they opted for the Deadeyes over the Scourges for Kiters, but then kept the Scourges for DPS. Look at that, they have Trail for stability.
Maybe doing so they actually...
better might.
I was gonna say, maybe doing so they actually hit the target DPS they wanted.
It's interesting that the Scourge was running offhand. It's running offhand dagger actually.
Yeah, it is.
Not very common, but perhaps to get rid of the vulnerability.
Yeah, maybe. Probably. He is tank.
And also,
he's even tethering to the north pylon to get some more DPS for the team. And personal boons, since he's probably not getting that many when he's off stack.
It's very clean.
Interesting.
And we're still seeing these fire drops. Every single group has dropped these fires so that you don't have to manually deal with anomalies. It's something that Pug should definitely do, just like sacrificing on Deimos that we saw in almost every POV.
It's just such a high, like, it's so annoying back in the day when this boss came out, where people didn't know how to do fires, you had to kill every single anomaly. You see everyone off group run towards them. It's so much nicer at the fires now.
Mm-hmm. So they're utilizing the Deadeyes to keep up the tether debuff during that 40% pylon burn. That's one benefit.
They get the DPS check. And you can see the anomaly getting CC'd there for a bit there. Like I said, we've basically been ignoring it because honestly, most groups, all groups have done well to deal with the anoms because they've been placing fires correctly and everything.
I mean, this is the sort of management that makes you think that Pogs could really do the same thing. But then again, these people are like seasoned gamers. They know what they are doing.
I mean, it's not harder, it just takes a little bit of organization.
Yeah, which is exactly the thing you don't have in Pogs, because they're pickup. Yeah, there are people not knowing each other, and you never have the confirmation that someone is going to do what you need them to do. So you always go from the postulate that you will need to supplement them on what you're expecting them to do. You will need to be the backup of the Pog, always, which is why this is not working. Either way, we're getting to the podium for Qadim the Peerless. And coming in at the third position, we have Calamity, doing way better than they were doing otherwise on Deimos.
Yo.
Their comp does not bring me joy, yet brought them to the third position. So let's just watch the POV and indulge in it. Since this is one of the top three, we won't go too fast.
This is pretty close to the comp I mentioned earlier that was basically a standard comp. We're seeing a lot of Scourges for DPS. We're seeing a Renegade for Alacrity. We're seeing Firebrand for standing your ground and quickness, and then usually a Chrono Tank. Not that this is the only comp. I'm pretty sure we'll see different ones in the last two POVs. But just, I would almost call this a standard comp for if you were to run this in any group, you could probably kill the boss really quickly compared to any other comp. But there are also things this group's going to obviously be different than Pugs would. Mainly, obviously, the tethers. We're going to see DPS skips that Pugs would never do. Just everything, a culmination of everything we've seen so far, put into one. I think this is a Celestial Renegade. No, this is not Celestial Renegade, I'm sorry. There's a Mirage. What am I talking about?
I think that's just a full DPS Renegade. Popping off on the meter. And even Staff Mirages is pulling 25k right now, while providing all that might and alacrity.
And also, yeah, mentioning a chat cover, this is actually a true chat cover for at least, I don't know all QTP, but that last phase, man.
Oh, right there we almost saw a very annoying mechanic where the anomaly can pick up the ball and then essentially just explode and cause a wipe. And when you encounter that a few times within your hour trying to grind a good kill, that's quite annoying.
I do want to mention something about people talking about Warrior. The reason Warrior is even lower value here, unfortunately, is because...
Portal.
That's cool. The reason Warrior value, unfortunately, is a little lower here is because a lot of people don't get your banners for most of the fight. The Kiters just are out of range. You could probably get one in range of your banners, but all three you can never get. So like
It's the same
while
with
also being
taking a soul beast and a spirit.
yeah, it's like in other fights you probably could, but in this one because you have so much group off group for so long, you almost can't. There are sometimes old spirit placements where people will try to share a spirit to a Deadeye Kiter. I don't know if that's still the case with Scourges as much, but we might see.
Oh boy,
Oh,
will they
no.
go down? Ah, I expected them to
And
go down
there's
with
that
fire.
phase
Yeah.
6 curse. Okay.
Yeah, they're in the big fire though.
The
So they
tethers
didn't
are going
take
Yeah,
down.
that was the big
Well,
fire, so that was fine. But still,
yeah.
I somehow expected it. By the way, I was wondering about it because everyone was seeing in the chat that there is very little room for warrior. But unless someone figures out a warrior tank, wasn't there already a warrior tank build that we saw like maybe 6 months ago on the Raid League? Pretty good warrior tank build that
the
had a
biggest
lot
build,
of
really-
self-healing.
Really, anyone can tank in this game, depending on the boss. It's just how much they provide in that roll compression. I did suggest maybe a Spellbreaker tank on this fight for Boonstrip, but obviously it was just kind of a joke.
wins, dude.
Wait, once again, 17 Elitist is second. I guess not having Muru on the voice cast gave a major debuff to 17 Elitist. This is the only way I can explain it. Dear Lord in heaven. Let's
So
start the
they
PvP.
had the Bugged and Scourge record recently, but they didn't even take their own comp. They supplemented the comp instead of Scourges with some other classes that should be doing more damage. While still benefiting from the 3 Scourges probably kiting.
But that's one thing that I actually don't understand. You know, if you already have a comp that's winning, that gets you the record, why not play it? Unless you don't think you can be reliably getting kills with it.
Well, so that's just it really answered. Scourge got patched. That's really the only answer. Like why wouldn't you run Power Chrono in every fight? Well, Power Chrono got patched. So
Yeah, okay.
it's not that it's bad. It's just worse.
It's
than
less
what
good.
before.
Yeah, it's not bad, it's just less good.
And Renegade's just so high damage right now. It's
So, and like, you might think that it's kind of a benefit to get a boss in the rating league after just grinding out a record on it, right? But one, there was the patch, but also people are probably tired of the boss, especially a boss like QTP, in my opinion. So they probably don't want to do the same comp and just have it be boring.
just a note though. There isn't no healer really except for this heal Chrono, if you want to call it that. Chrono not known to be a amazing healer, so.
Yeah, it is a quite aggressive comp for not having a healer, for sure. The Renegades, Firebrands, well, Firebrand can't even sustain too well if they're going into the fires. Here they go. They do tether to both pylons, both south, east, and west. So probably a huge burst here.
Oh. I was reading some things I probably shouldn't have read.
How so?
Anyways. I was looking at chat. Yeah. There's not really too much to say except for the interesting Chrono here, I think. I think that that's probably the most interesting thing about this comp. Is because Renegades is a high DPS. Firebrand's there for the stand your ground. You got 2 of them. You got the Mirage for Alacrity. Means just doing his high DPS while keeping tethers contained as much as you can. It's a really clean kill. Except, well, maybe, spoke a little soon.
Yeah, one
But it's still
Downstate in P3. Or P6.
Pretty clean kill. It's a pretty clean kill.
It's a great kill.
That's the least we would expect from them, wouldn't we?
Absolutely.
But you know what we expect as well? A wonderful kill coming right from you guys at Downstate Cucks.
Just 1 second faster again. Yes. We ran quite a different comp. Other than the 3 Scourges and some Renegades.
Yeah, I just love the Scrapper. You know, I'm all in for the Scrapper.
The Scrapper with Pinpoint.
Creativity.
We also tried Condi Scrapper.
I'm just gonna start the POV.
I guess we just couldn't play it well enough, or because it also has a really high ramp up time. Or really long.
Daredevil.
Yes, and a Conti Daredevil. Just one, because we were worried about the Venoms overriding. And I'm running a Druid tank. It was annoying to play. I didn't like it. Sadly, in this POV, I didn't play it that well either. I got better as the hour went on. But I'm giving Might to the Scourges with CA spam.
You're bound to be #1 Druid soon.
I would like to file my formal complaint with the accent for stealing my pinpoint.
Okay, yes, I was also in the pinpoint subgroup, and I didn't do a great job in this POV of trying to stack away from the group to give it to Isa.
Because if you see like the scrapper and basically everyone else is hanging out on the left, but you see me on the right there trying to tether to the southeast pylon.
Oh,
so
bro, this is so
I'm not
sad.
getting any of the pinpoint because I'm just way over there off in Narnia.
Were you CCing the anomalies as well, the accent, or was someone else doing that?
Mostly the Scourges handled it with Flesh Golem. If they needed a little bit of extra, then I would throw some on if I was able to.
Okay.
And it's true. Any left lovers in chat, dude? The best thief in the game?
This is the
Being
sort of
the best.
execution that I would love to see in Progs, you know, the fact that you said that the Scourges would handle the CC and you otherwise will step in, whereas in Progs they just expect one person to do it and nobody is backing up.
You can also, like, one of the big things that higher level groups
That's super
tend to
speed
get
to
a
run in
handle
as
on.
well.
It's
Is,
easy to run back, right?
The balls damage.
we actually portal.
Yeah, it's a portal back from the Scourge, right?
Still super speed to run, though. They're still running.
Yeah, I mean, this
so
is
good.
just
That's true,
crazy.
yeah.
You're staying in so hard. Is it with the gyros that reduce the damage that much?
So, no, there's no reduction in damage in Scrapper. There's a trait that you always take in Scrapper where 15% of your strike damage is converted to barrier. So you
Okay.
just survive everything on power.
All right.
The other
never
thing is
die.
those fires from him eating the pylons actually do a lot less damage than the fires that you drop yourself.
Yeah.
So
we
it's a lot
already said
easier to
that,
just
yeah.
sit in those fires.
Yeah, naturally, we already said that. I was just surprised that the rest of the team could afford to have such a stain.
Yeah, because... Well, the accent's the action.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in this kill, we also didn't, like, we kind of hit the 30% DPS check, or 30 to 20%, so he bubbled, but then he still phased. Another kills, well, another wipes, I should say. We hit that DPS check a bit more comfortably.
That anomaly.
There's also a really annoying bug where if you, like, I don't know exactly what causes it, but if you have damage and you phase him to like 30%, he'll decide to go middle, spawn a bubble, and then break the 30% pylon. And so you have to CC the west pylon, or sorry, the east pylon to get rid of the bubble, and then you lose DPS, and it's really, really annoying.
There's a question for
Luckily,
you
it
in the
didn't
chat, the accent. I don't know if you've seen it. Question especially for you.
I didn't run Greatsword? No. Honestly, I probably could have. I probably could have dropped staff for it. I didn't really need it. Something I didn't do in this POV, but I did in later POVs. Well, later pulls that we didn't kill on, was using my CA2 just to cleanse myself, which allowed me to just like tank auto attacks more so I could spam more CA on the Scourges for might.
Alright, clean explanation as ever. I just want to bring everyone up to pace and watch the leaderboard for Qadim the Peerless. We have 3 people in the gold rating. They are the 3 teams on the podium. Congratulations once again to Downstate Cucks, 17 Elitist, and Calamity, who rose up from their otherwise less stellar performance on Deimos. Almost coughed right there. Anyways, that's it for this time's Raid League, the September round of the full split. The Season 2 full split round 1 points are as follows. The combined leaderboards give us on top the Downstate Cucks with 200 points, coming right next behind them the 17 Elitists, beaten twice by a mere 1 second, and then Practice is Overrated Peep-a-Boom, I really love that name, I really do, coming in at the 3rd position. They are being tailed by Wipe and Calamity, despite their rather bronze run in on Deimos, manages to stand at the 5th position right behind them. So it's going to be a very heated fight in the next round, and I am surely hoping to see a little bit of a shuffle of dance among that leaderboard for the combined points. I guess that's it. Do you guys have anything that you want to add?
Well,
I can
congratulations
add-
to everyone. I think, like, I'm always impressed by how many teams there are that are doing really competitive strategies and times and comps. You can say something, Crow.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I like seeing Win join in. Win's been around for quite a while. The Raid League's also been around for quite a while. I'm happy to see them join it. My favorite team, even though they're not the winners, Peepo Boom. I'll be honest, I love seeing their comps. I love seeing their ideas, and I love seeing what they could do with it. I remember them from the Samurag contest last time when I first casted, and it was one of my favorite comps to see was Peepo Boom. So I just want to see more of them. I love seeing the ideas of every single team here, and I hope in the future we'll see 17 Win get as close as they are now.
Yeah, it's gonna be a heated race. I want to just plug that tomorrow on NA, if you're a raider or looking to get into raiding, I'm starting an initiative for this entire week to try to just get as many people active as possible. So if you want to join in, please do.
I mean, maybe give the name of your initiative, like
sell
yourself
is there
up?
a name? It's a mouthful, okay? NA Raid LFG Revival. NA Revival,
Amazing.
I guess for short.
The NA Revival, like, see, DXVII has that level of confidence in his own gaming abilities. He can single-handedly revive the entirety of an hemisphere, of a region. Single-handedly, lads. He only needs 3 fingers, you know? 2 for the mouse buttons and 1 for the side roll. Exactly, that's all he needs. Such a gamer. Such a gamer.
Yeah, hopefully it's successful.
But yeah, apart from that, I guess it is time for a little round of congratulations, not only for the players, but for the amazing casters that I've had with me this time around. Thank you to all of you. If you want to give a little bit of a personal blurb, now is the time for you to go. If you want to congratulate the team specifically that you were in, now is also the time to go for it. Otherwise, just let it go. Lads, Isa, then Crowd, then DXVII, the floor is yours.
I already kind of plugged my stuff, so go on.
I just want to tip my cap to 17 Elitists. The fact that RP was kind of the difference on Deimos is kind of sad. Wish that wasn't the case. But it was a wonderful kill. And
not to throw the pot, but they could honestly like contest that. It is a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, I don't want it to go unnoticed that you guys did technically have a faster kill. It was just cucked by RP.
No, that wouldn't be a technical faster kill, but
I can plug.
I see what you mean.
Oh my gosh. My Twitch, Krawkyz, KRAWKYZ. Thank you very much. Come watch me. I am completely different on that stream. I'm a lot nicer here, so.
We do not condone toxicity here at the Raid League. Please
I'm not toxic. That's different.
All right, you're not a Roka in becoming. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. Good.
Oh, Roka.
We all miss Roka.
I love Roka.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, I'll also be streaming later today. I'll probably take a small break.
A small break? I was gonna host you. What? Jesus.
Oh, I can just go live then if you
want.
Yeah,
just go live. We raid you. You know, that's the energy we need today.
Jackson, don't fall for it. He made me do this once.
It's all part of the master plan. You want people for your NA revival? See, we already have the viewers.
True.
But yeah.
Although, if you are gonna do it, I do need some CMs.
Yeah, we'll make it fun.
That's the guy saying, I'm bringing in the trap. You're the trap. All right. Anyways,
I think goes really well. CNA become the Pug Central, dude. EU, I'm sorry, but you're just worse than our Pugs. I'm sorry.
You say that, but I invited a bunch of EU people to.
No, I didn't say all of you. I said their Pugs. I just meant their Pugs. Oh
No. Crowd, you just ruined yourself. You didn't shoot yourself in the foot, you took away the entire leg. Congratulations.
Oh no.
Alright, with this said and done, I guess it is time to remind you guys of the next events coming right up in the calendar. So the next time you're gonna see all of us together is gonna be for the October round of the full split of the Raid League. October 8th, it is the start of the grinding time and it ends on October 16. And then the stream time is to be decided, should be on the 17th at 8 PM. We'll let you guys know. In the drawing pool, we still have a lot of bosses to look forward to, so I'm more than hope that a lot of players will come by and step up to the challenge. With this said and done,
one thing. What boss do you guys wish really gets pulled next month out of that in the draw pool?
Because if we have balance on it or not, honestly.
If the balance is the exact same that we have right now, what boss out of that list would you like to see next
any
month?
boss
Just one. You don't have
bad.
to do 2.
So Crunched Amalgamate, maybe?
Sloth? I think I want Sam. I've wanted Samurog.
You want
since
me?
I joined Raid League.
You want
Should have
Sam?
done the meme event last time.
Yes, I want you, Sam. No, we didn't. I didn't.
Join...
What team was I going to
blush
join?
again.
Win wasn't in it.
PB did.
Yeah, you know what? I would actually want Soulless Horror. You know what? I'm a simp for Soulless Horror.
Oh, but it's just Soulless Horror RNG,
Nah,
the wall RNG grind.
I don't care. I like the Smina. I
I'll
like
make a
it.
promise, okay? If
I'll tell you.
SH is next week, or sorry, next month, I won't bring a single scourge for you, Sam.
I'll tell you what I don't want is
Fire.
simply because I don't want to deal with the pre-event over and over and over. 2 minutes of just downtime every pull.
Largos could be interesting too.
Largos would be fun because the last time we saw Largos was, I think, pretty much Condi Chrono dominated. There was maybe a little bit of Mirage in there, and it was when 17 whipped out the core Boon Thief tank on right side, and the tornado bug doesn't exist anymore. Now we've got the new tornado bug. the double tornado.
6 tornadoes. Here we go.
Largos would be fun.
Yeah, I think Largos and the Smina would make me happy. Would bring me joy.
A lot of purple stack. You'd be going right back to purple stack, Sam.
The reason
No,
that Sloth
don't
would be
say
really
that.
cool is because Sloth got the power possibilities, but also like different burst condies and stuff. So
Yeah. It's like Deimos, yeah, you could run probably both Power or Condi, for sure.
But yeah, either way, that's gonna be it for us. I think we're good and done. The accent, it is your time to step up. Start your stream, and we
already
can
have.
give you a little bit of a raid. Oh, you already
It's
have,
live.
then that is completely perfect. So guys, remember, check out the replay on the YouTube channel. Make sure to join the Discord to give us a little bit of energy. If you want to participate in the Raid League prize pool, you can do so by checking how to do so at the Discord page. And once and again, please give us a lot of energy on our Twitter, because as time goes on, and especially as we get closer to the finale of the season, we will want to have a lot of interaction to prove to our internet that we are the future of the PvE scene in the game. Thank you everyone, see you over at the Accents, love and bye-bye. You ready, the Accent? Are you ready?
Yeah.
There are 2 X's in your name, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, easy. You don't have permissions, Jesus! Evo needs to do the raid!
Evo.
Oh, Jesus!
Sam is a pleb.
This is so horrible! Oh my god. Let's just disappear into a hole already. I'm done. I need to go back to sleep.
Help.
Hey, bye lads! Love you! Big energy, this is not my channel, that's why it was horrible. See ya! Bye bye!